Light straight up doesn't feel comfortable on the pick, or maybe it's a combination of Light and LNG in general, not really knowing how to play around this particular setup. So not really a positive start here for LNG on blue, but TT, as we said, they lost. They did opt to go onto the red, which again is a stranger one in terms of this series, because we do tend to see people look towards that blue side, force the bans out. Excuse me, like you said, but Viego should just be the first pick.
On blue, then why not, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to give away that free ban, but TT now, so far, so much the same as game one. They might just go for this, you know, again, similar lock-ins. Get themselves the Graves, maybe get themselves the Twisted Fate. Yeah, the Twisted Fate as well. Just again, I don't think the picks were bad. I just think the execution in that mid-game was just atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's hard to bounce back from this one in terms of a draft, because it really wasn't down to the draft. It was down to the execution. I do like that they pick up the Kalista early. They don't give an opportunity for LNG to take the Kalista. I think this makes more sense, in my opinion. So I think it's a good adaptation, because if, again, you know, the fact that LNG passed over Kalista makes it seem like they don't have as high a priority, but you can't assume that they're not going to take it this time. And they secure that AD carry pick for themselves. Looking at potentially the Sejuani, but they will actually go back for the Graves again. So I like this as well. I think, you know, I don't think Graves is the highest prior jungler, but with Wukong banned away, getting something comfortable with Beichuan can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And I think, again, as well, we always talk about this, that TT, they are playing through Beichuan. Beichuan on a carry or something that can carry is in. We are running this back 100% if this Nautilus is locked in. This will be 5 out of 10 picks that are identical coming into this ban phase. And again, I think LNG are saying, well, we won with it last time, and TT were saying, well, we should have won with it last time. So both teams happy to go with it.
Yeah, and the question here is, the problem is you can either take the TF now or you can take the Braum, but you can't have both. Now, bear in mind that LNG did ban away other picks. Ooh. There is higher prior support, and they opt to go for the Renata. So I really like this bot lane. Renata Kalista really strong. Very hard. If you don't get on top of the Kalista or outrange her, she will just kite you. And she can basically play super aggressive with the fact that she can't die, and she can just keep stacking up the Rens until she kills the target. But now TT, you know, they banned away Galio last time. They banned away Gangplank. I can see the Gangplank being a repeated ban, but they actually go for the Kale in this situation. LNG could just ban away the Twisted Fate from Ucal, you know, deny that one away.
Yeah, options available to them. We'll see what they want to go for. They're actually going to go away from the Azir this time around. So saying, look, we want to try and maybe give Doinb again that super scaling pick. If he gets the Corki, very little can go up against him. Maybe the Victor as a such, but the Corki shall be banned. Thank you so much, TT, for getting rid of that pick. But LNG now, they got to figure out where they want to put this last ban. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, again, like you said, to put away that Twisted Fate. I think Ucal was playing relatively decently with it up until a point, and then, you know, having that pressure up top side was fine as well. So this is still a worthy ban, but they're actually going to go with the Silas themselves, maybe baiting in TT to say, go ahead, pick the Twisted Fate again.
Yeah, we'll have to see on this one. There's also the Galio as a perspective that is being left open. Obviously, TT banned that away when they picked the Twisted Fate last time. Looks like they could be looking at a different direction, though. We'll see if they opt to go for this. I will say that, you know, the Camille was kind of that option to have some engage on the lineup. You have even less engage now, because at least before you could throw the Braum in. Throwing the Renata in doesn't work. For anyone who doesn't know how Kalista ult works, when you hit a target, you bounce backwards to your auto attack range. For melee champions, that's fine. You're in melee range. For champions like Renata, you bounce back to your full attack range, and then your ult is so slow, people just run away. Like, it's not a good combo in that sense. It's basically better as a safety net and to bounce people from being on top of you. So I think giving that engage option on the roster makes sense with that Ornn, but the problem is LNG will lock in that Camille Galio. That's a super threatening combo, and TT need to work out what they want to take in the mid lane to try and mitigate that.
Yeah, well, the Ornn can technically go mid as well. We have seen Ucal pick it up and bring it into that mid lane, and you're going to do a bit of a switcheroo. Don't think it really does exactly what they wanted to do in this particular sense, so might see another change of pace.
Swain 100%. Oh, yeah. Please. I saw the Zoe, and I was like, no way. You're just going to get jumped on and blown up. Swain thrives in this opportunity. You want to dive a Swain? Have fun. Like, TT have this perfect anti-dive composition up against a dive comp of LNG. It's actually a really nice draft, I feel like, from TT. The Swain makes so much sense in this situation. And sure, there's still elements to LNG that make sense, like the, you know, if you do create space for light, you can pop off. But I love TT's draft. I think it's really good.
Yeah, again, we see TT going for a very good early priority in the bot side. They've got good safety and kind of teamfight prowess in the top side of the map. So we'll see what they're able to kind of do with this draft now that they've got themselves set up for it. And like you said, lots of things that can deal with what LNG are throwing. I will say, though, if LNG can find off maybe, you know, skewed timings in the early stages where they have the Hextech ultimatum and the hero's entrance, the other team does not have access to their ultimates, that's where they could maybe snowball this game. But it does feel like right now, TT should have the tools available to them to deal with whatever LNG throw at them. Yeah,
we really need Doinb to be super present on the map. This needs to be a game where we have the Galio roaming, Tarzan taking over on this Viego that has more early pressure than the Graves, and them using that to snowball the game. If they don't, I feel like they're going to have a rough time. That's the difference between the previous game. The previous game, it was TT with the Twisted Fate, and the Corki's not too relevant in those early setups for plays. So LNG should be hoping to set the early pace of the game, but if they don't, you know, the Ornn scaling is there. The fact that the Swain is into 4 melee champions and a short-range AD carry, perfect opportunity for him. The Kalista Renata is like the anti-dive bot lane. If you jump on her, they pop the ultimate from Renata. They can create so much space. Kalista won't die immediately. You can keep stacking up Rens. I feel like, you know, I was kind of frustrated last game when TT lost by the lead. If they lose with this draft, I will be kind of mind blown. But there is still windows. There's definitely windows, and it really comes down to what Doinb and Tarzan can do. And Doinb looking to start it early with a potential cheese.
A little bit of potential cheese, bit of brie, bit of mozzarella. It's always good.
Uda?
Oh Lord, ooh, a bit of Uda cheese. I love cheese, man. You ever have a fried halloumi? Fried halloumi?
Halloumi,
so
yes,
nice.
good.
Yeah, halloumi. Good. I love. Yeah, but I actually looking at Doinb. Not only does he have the Predator, he has the Ghost and the Flash. The man is looking to get on top of your face.
This is a max speed Galio. I'm not a huge fan of this, honestly. I think TP is really valuable, especially later in the game. What you can do is Arle can go in on XiaoXiang, and then Doinb can ult on top. They kill him, then they both TP into Baron. I kind of like that play, so I'm not as big a fan of the Ghost, but either way, will mean he has a ton of movement speed to help him get onto the backline. And now Puff and SouthWind potentially cut out. Bear in mind, Doinb sacrificing a lot for this. Puff and SouthWind should expect LNG to be in that bot lane brush. This is like a common play where you stack in a brush and look for it. Thing is, they probably don't expect Doinb.
They do not expect Doinb to be there. The flash is already going to be used by SouthWind, but where are you going to go? Light picks up that kill, but Puff got enough kills there onto and gets out after killing off the Galios. So not exactly a perfect start here for LNG. They only trade 1 for 1, and Doomy's going to lose a little bit of time and presence in this mid lane.
Yeah, that's the thing. He has no TP, so he's missing quite a lot mid. His summoners are down. Mid is going to be rough for Doinb, and his chances of roaming outwards can be severely reduced. The upside is TT's bot lane have no summoners, and they're now zoned off the initial wave. You know, this is a heavy momentum-based bot lane, as cluster lanes tend to be, and they've just lost a ton of momentum, so going to be kind of difficult for them to find headway back into the lane. They will be able to walk up now. The level 1 is still strong, but the level 2 is going to come out shortly for LNG, and they can really look to just engage off the back of that.
Yeah, here we go. The hook will still land. That was insane range, and that's Puff falling down. Lumao picks that one up, and honestly, this is a great start for the LNG bot side.
I mean, I said, you know, like you saw Puff and SouthWind come back in. They're like, oh, they're still level 1. We can step up. We can trade. No, you're going to lose the battle to level 2. Going to lose the race. Lumao, who just got subbed in, lands a great dredge line onto Puff. And now you're really in the hole in the bot lane. And it's a lane we said GT wanted to make work for themselves. And LNG have found a great start.
I mean, for LNG as well, I imagine Doinb was on comms and like, hey, I've absolutely ruined my laning phase. You better make sure that start works out perfectly for you. And they are paying back the reward of Doinb going down to that bot side so early. Beichuan now setting himself up around this first scuttle. And it's going to be a trade on the top side for both scuttle visions. But you can see Ala now recognizing that he has got total confidence in being able to push this one up here on the XiaoXiang and should be able to keep Ornn underneath his tower.
Yeah, and XiaoXiang a bit behind in farm and actually struggling to pick up the CS under the tower. He just missed like half of those. Do you see Ucal being fished for?
We've seen this before. They all just pile in, get the CC down. Ucal gets taken out. As I say that, never mind. Oh, Tarzan has to commit his flash. They wanted to try and donate that one over to Doinb, but they do end up losing a couple of summoners afterwards.
I thought the healing coming out from the passive would have been enough. Not quite, though. And a really nice gang. Good roam timing from Lumao. Good setup. The Predator from Doinb allow him to close the distance and make it so you don't have to land the skill shots when the taunt already connects. Ucal, unfortunately, was waiting to flash for the Nautilus Q now. Beichuan, that's a zombie ward. You can see that.
Yeah, sadly, this gang shall not be working in the favor of TT, but it does mean that they get the crash in, so LNG. But now you've shown yourself on bot side. XiaoXiang needs to be very careful with how he takes these trades into Allah.
Yeah, I think you should just be able to look for a reset, get your mana back, and come back in. Tarzan's in the vicinity. You are so low. You could just die, XiaoXiang.
XiaoXiang and Allah could both die. He's going to try and get the crash here as Tarzan.
Yeah, I think I will say Ornn's shield is something, right? I love how XiaoXiang was so low and he's just healed back up.
Oh, ooh, almost getting the charge off to get the knock up down, but the wave shall be mitigated here as both junglers found themselves topside. And again, LNG, they're mitigating a lot of the pressure, and Doinb now has Ghost and has Predator. He might just try and just keep doubling down on this.
I mean, you have to expect this for TT.
Here we go. Puff, he should be fine. Yeah, he backs himself away. Good job, Puff. Good job.
You hear all those pings going out? Puff is not happy, right, is all I'm going to say. He's not impressed with how this game has been going. And this is honestly the style that Doinb became famous with. When he won the World Championship back on FBX, everyone saw him as that mid laner who wouldn't play for lane. He'd play to roam. Nautilus mid was one of his specialities, playing these heavy CC mids, looking to be super present on the map. And it is really working so far for LNG in this game.
Working well. 1,000 gold lead for LNG. They put a lot of resources into Light and Lumao. And again, Lumao coming in as a sub for Lwandy, obviously feeling a lot more comfortable in this particular setup. And again, it could just be pure comfort. This is a very decent game so far in terms of the early game, and it's exactly what they wanted to try and mitigate. Game 1 with Lwandy, it was very much a 100% TT favored bot side, but now with the pressure and the presence they've been able to get with the Galio in the mid lane and of course Lumao on the Nautilus, they've actually mitigated it, completely flipped it in terms of what we expected.
Yeah, I will say that like Lumao's looked good so far in this game, absolutely, but he also got the level 1 gang from Doinb. He also is not playing into the Braum. He's playing into Renata, which has more windows to punish, especially when set behind. So I think it's definitely an easier game for Lumao to play, but he has been solid so far. Particularly that hook he got when he hit level 2 was really nice. And now SouthWind has to be a little bit careful. One of the things with the Renata lane is she has long cooldowns, and if you burst her, it's quite hard for them to get the turnaround kill. Like if you just blow up a target before they can stack up the rend, they won't be able to get the reset. They won't be able to get that trade kill that allows you to stay alive. So have to be careful in these situations. But things have stabilized, in fairness. Puff isn't too far behind in terms of CS, but I think he's looking to push this wave and to go for a reset. And once more, Lumao moves out onto the map.
Yeah, well, Tarzan at level 6. You do have the Hextech Ultimatum and the Hero's Entrance available to LNG, so might see a combination of Doinb and Allah up towards this top side. And you can already see as well side of TT trying to, you know, figure out where they want to go. Because again, it's all about being proactive. It's all about how they're able to make this one work. And just as I say it, Doinb, he's already trying to make a nuisance of himself and saying, look, I can make this happen. You got to be very careful, very aware.
Yeah, and the pressure's really felt. You have to be so concerned whenever Doinb leaves lane. Especially top is a big concern because of the setup available with the Camille. But it is still LNG who will be setting the pace. And now, level 6 has been hit for Ucal, which means he's a lot more relevant in skirmishes. But in return, obviously the roaming pressure for Doinb is there. Tarzan has his level 6. The resets in the Viego, definitely a big threat. So I think Herald is coming up soon. I'm not sure if TT want to necessarily contest this one. We will see, however.
Sending Puff.
It's really going to come down to Tarzan. If Tarzan gets resets, that's where we find fit. Oh, no.
Oh, this is the combination you talked about. The flash and the ultimate being used here by XiaoXiang. But that is a Ghost. That is a Predator. That is movement speed Galio coming to a top lane near you. And now we see the rest of TT trying to go for this. You're going to see the Demonic Ascension coming out here for Ucal as he maybe tries to just catch out this Allah, but he's being slowed off. The Never Move is going to be good to bring him back. Both top laners are now dead. I will say, though, TT, they're losing a lot for Puff right now. Light is just free farming both on bot and on mid, so he's got 20 CS above his counterpart.
Yeah, managed to pick up a big lead, and they'll go towards this Herald. But this is risky because they don't have the Swain ult anymore. Swain loses so much value not having the ultimate available, so they have to make this one quick. Doinb's coming back on the map. Light is approaching. This could be scary.
Puff doesn't have ult. That's a level 7 Aphelios, but they need to try and make this one work already. But Tarzan just gets caught. Hand shook, taken out. That's a kill. That's a Rift Herald. Nicely done there by TT, and they stabilize the top side of the map.
Yeah, typically, Viego thinks he's safe in that scenario as he can ult out, but it was actually a really nice handshake from SouthWind, baited him in, locked him down, killed him, and now they can potentially look for the whole tower here. They do a lot of damage to it, and with the Herald, this could be a massive influx of gold that is much needed for this Kalista.
Oh, absolutely. Puff has been bleeding out so far, and you can see Allah, he has to respect it. They have access to the Fate's Call and the hostile takeover, so you cannot just walk over, and that's going to be the full tower taken out. And massive turn here for TT. They finally get themselves some momentum going in this game, and honestly they needed it because it was starting to run away from them.
Yeah, it was looking rough, but they managed to find the pick. They managed to find a couple of kills to trade around. We'll see the replay. I don't see XiaoXiang plays this as well as he can, blocks the stun coming out from Ale, and then when the ult comes down, watch how close he is to getting knocked up, but manages to flash out just as the ult times out. We then see them approach. You can't escape the taunt, but he does at least cancel it with the W. Ale then has to flash to secure the kill, and because Ale flashes, that is why he dies here, because they had to finish off the kill quickly, but he no longer has his tool to escape. And look how patient they are with the CC. They let Ale dodge back and forth, only throwing the never move right at the end. Doesn't give any window for Ale to outplay that one.
TT stabilizing the game, actually get themselves a little bit of a gold lead, and we're giving Puff, as we mentioned earlier, some nice resources with that top lane turn. And honestly, this is great for the side of TT. It opens up that side lane. XiaoXiang can play a little bit more fluidly, as you can see right now. Just saying, cool, I pushed up top. I don't need to be there right now. I can roam first towards this dragon, which is spawning in 40 seconds.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of teams today prioritize those early dragons, just trying to ensure you have more time. If the enemy wants to lean towards Soul, or honestly just for yourself, but also to make it a pertinent threat. I think especially as LNG have that first dragon, TT would love to secure one for themselves. They have control of the area. We'll see if they just sweep down towards it. Both top laners have TP. Arlace is coming up in a second.
Not unleashed just yet, though, so both teams will be, if they want their top laners to be, it will be going to a tower in either mid or bot lane if they want to try and join this. And yeah, I think LNG are saying, look, give them the dragon. We already got the first one. We don't really care about the second. They're seeing if they can maybe go for a dive on top side, but this Ornn's getting pretty tanky. It's becoming very difficult. In fact, Doinb's just saying, look, we're not even going to go for the dive. We're just going to try and steal away some camps, get some extra resources, and maybe work something else out. Oh, they're looking for Ucal.
No, he's trying to run back to the lane. I think the thing is they weren't really able to find a setup. LNG ideally want numbers advantages, but you can see how they feel just tentative about potentially making a mistake here. I think considering how rough the early start was for TT, they're feeling a lot more comfortable with the current state of the game. You'll see that Ucal isn't going for the Imperial Mandate build. And so we have the two main builds we're seeing, right? Imperial Mandate and the Liandry's. I like Liandry's here because you're into 4 melee champions. They're going to have a lot of HP that you can shred through, but also one thing people forget about with the Imperial Mandate is whenever it's procced, you get movement speed. So when you're playing into longer range compositions, it can really help you to get on top of them. This composition that LNG has, you should never struggle to be on a target. They should be coming to you. You should just sit on top of your Kalista, press R, and vibe. He's actually got the Everfrost, actually. Not even the Liandry's. Not sure I agree with that one. Is going to offer that route, but yeah, I think Liandry's would have been my pick in this game.
Your pick of the litter, shall we say. But yeah, honestly, I think that's exactly what you talked about in the draft phase as well. This is a dive composition from LNG. This is a team that wants to get on top of you, as we can see right now. So XiaoXiang, the next target here for the side of LNG. They've even got the Viego coming up as Tarzan. Maybe looks to get something, but again, very difficult to really lock him down. He's got his Fast Fire Gauntlet, so this is actually quite difficult to really solidify, and no Rift Herald either means that there's no real benefit here for the side of LNG.
Yeah, they keep trying to make these plays and lean up, but this is kind of the difference between pre-patch 12.10 and on 12.10 is that these dives feel so much harder. Ornn, obviously a decent champion at kind of mid-game dives, but 3 members should be enough until the towers got buffed so heavily that if he connects CC on a one target, the tower hits will ramp up and they'll probably just go down.
Well, see what they want to try and maybe work with this mid or top lane. You can see already needs to be careful, relatively safe as no one else from the side of TT was around, but does get himself a plate before they end up falling in 30 seconds time. But yeah, again, this is kind of Doinb trying to make things work. There's the Everfrost coming out. They get the handshake, but it's still a very tanky Galio. Very difficult to really burst him out.
Yeah, I'd rather the damage personally. You know, you do have that CC chain, which is nice, but I feel like you are going to need that AP damage. Your only other AP damage is that Ornn, who's obviously not doing that much later on, but regardless, I digress about talking about what items I wish were built. We do have Dragon coming up in 2 minutes 30. We do have Herald coming up in 50 seconds, though, and Tarzan's potentially fishing in the area. Scuttle is up soon, so might be able to secure that and give themselves presence. You can see the bot lane already here for LNG, so they're able to get prio mid if they need to and force TT out the area.
I'm trying to be proactive, trying to see if they can make something work for them, but like you said, they don't want to overly push forward. The Raptors will end up running away as Tarzan actually seeing as XiaoXiang is relatively low and making his presence very, very low. And they're going to just cut off the minion wave and say, look, you're caught out. There's no one here to save you. You don't have a TP on Ucal right now, and he is dead. XiaoXiang falls down, and that's going to be the Camille picking up that kill on the top side. No real response available here for the side of TT, but they will be able to trade back the tower.
Yeah, I think XiaoXiang just trading a bit too much. Ended up getting really low under tower. If he was healthier, maybe he had a chance to turn that around, but ends up being punished. And it's a trade on the other side. So TT aren't exactly losing out too much. It's just the kill, really, that is the difference maker.
Oh, Doinb does realize that he's probably in a bad situation. Honestly, yeah, TT can keep going for this right now because there's no one really answering from the side of LNG. They now recognize that the Nautilus might be here. Light is being left on his lonesome in the mid lane, so he's going to try and burn that one down. The Rift Herald is live. The top turret was saved by Ucal as he did TP up to it, so LNG were not able to pick that one up, but with the Rift Herald spawned up, we can see them trying to prioritize that. But you can see already in the minimap, TT, they're really looking to try and maybe go for something here around this dragon area.
Yeah, they want to secure this one, but the problem is mid tower's low, top tower's low. They were actually, I think Tarzan was just doing the scuttle there. Hasn't committed to the Herald. Doesn't want to potentially get challenged on it. Probably could have gotten away with it, but maybe the team wants to reset and play more towards this dragon. Bear in mind, though, Ale just TP top, so feels like that not necessarily the play if he wanted to make that happen. Now, we see XiaoXiang going to clear out the wave. Does mean he sacrifices a ton of health, and at this point, you kind of know it's doomed. But the fact that you cleared out the wave makes it a bit of a trickier dive, and also means when we see them go for the turret, sorry, they don't actually manage to finish it off because he thinned that massive wave out. And now they are set up for Dragon in this position. Gold is pretty much dead even, but TT have control of the area, so I feel like they should just be able to start this.
And already LNG saying, look, we want nothing to do with this dragon. We're happy to let it go. So they want the Rift Herald. They want priority in the top side. And Beichuan picks that one up very easily for himself. There is a trinket just popped down to make sure they know exactly where it is. But TT might not be letting this Rift Herald go for free. And honestly, right now, LNG, they're kind of scattering their resources just a little bit. As I say that, though, XiaoXiang has to flash away from the Everfrost of Doinb, who's still chasing him down with the Ghost, with the Predator, with as much CC as he possibly can muster. There's the Hextech Ultimatum coming down on top of the Ornn, and he will be taken out. Easy peasy there for LNG, and not only that, but they get the Rift Herald as well.
I'm gonna say this isn't a fun time for XiaoXiang, but he's not playing this weak side that well. He keeps opting into situations where he can be punished, and as a result goes down for the third time. And this 3-1 Camille for Ale will be scary. You know, we talked about the team fight threat from TT, the fact that when it comes to those 5v5s, I really favor that comp. LNG could just opt in the side lanes, and that's why it's important they have that first dragon, because if they didn't, if TT had 3, you might have to opt into team fight sooner rather than later. Ocean Soul will be massive this game. I feel like Ocean Soul is a situational dragon. Some games it's really good, some games it's a bit meh. This game where you have super tanky champions, you have an Ornn, you have a Swain on one side, Camille, Viego, Galio on the other, it becomes so much harder to kill them when they're healing constantly in that combat.
Yeah, definitely, as you said, situational. But in this particular situation, it is definitely good for, I would argue, both sides. As wait, that two? Where do those two pink? Did they just miss pink? I suppose both the thing.
Oh,
how does it?
He doesn't
What?
actually have vision.
What? That is so strange to me.
It doesn't really. Look at the butterflies blocking the vision.
Yeah. It's all on the butterfly, the 6-man of LNG. I will say, it's not that big of a deal. That pink ward literally gains you very little information on the side of LNG, so it doesn't make that big of a difference. But what might make a bit of a difference here is now Lumao needs to be careful. He gets flashed on top of as he tries to flash away. Does have his dredge line to keep him safe. So that is going to be a bit of engage now down for the side of TT and for LNG.
Yeah, nice buffering from Lumao, but ultimately the thing is you don't actually lose that much because Flash on SouthWind is a lot less important than it typically is for Renata, simply because you have a Kalista. So in these situations where it's like, oh no, SouthWind might be caught out, you have that extra safety net, which is I think why you can go for aggressive plays like that when you play this lane. But Lumao's shown his mastery of Nautilus with that buffering. But it's still a summoner burn that they potentially look to punish going forwards if Lumao is overextended, trying to get some wards down.
Well, Doinb will have found the ward that was popped down here to make sure his pink ward stays alive. But
I wonder whose it is, right? I feel like it's probably Ole's because he was playing top, obviously. And also, normally the jungler and the support, like if you look at the inventory of LNG, the jungle and the support are the ones with control wards. They will move their control wards quite frequently, like depending on the objective. But top laners tend to just slam one and forget, right?
Yeah. It's definitely not Lumao's because he dropped his pink ward right there and it's still up top. So we'll see if we can do it. Well, actually, it could end up being there forever because if Ale never buys a pink ward again, then it stays in top lane, never in a brush.
He needs his refillable potion. It's more important than a new pink ward.
Oh, the Gale Force has been used. They're going to try and fully engage onto Light, and Light is dead. Straight back into the darkness. You trade back a kill as he is shut down for a bot lane tier 1, and they're pushing for the tier 2.
I think they're just going to go for Baron here. A lot of flashes burn, but actually, look, Ucal has gone for the spellbook swap. He has a smite available. This will be hard for LNG to contest. Remember, we talked about how good anti-dive TT have. They still have the ultimate for Swain. They still have the ultimate for the Renata. Tarzan's going to have to try and steal this one. We'll see if he can manage it against 2 smites.
Well, 2 smites and a rend, you got to remember as well. But there's no flash here for the Kalista as he goes in. The smite comes down, and it is Ucal who secures that one for his team. Now Tarzan needs to try and get himself out of this fight, out of this team, as he keeps getting chased down here by Beichuan and XiaoXiang. They will not be able to get any other kills. Ends up being a Baron traded for 2 turrets on the bot side.
Yeah, so a heavy penalty, but I think TT could be happy with this one, and it's the coordination between those 2 smites. The Baron died from 2k HP. There wasn't a window. There's nothing Tarzan can really do in that situation. So really nice play for TT. Obviously, gets them a bunch of gold, gets some experience, and we get to see what they can do with that Baron. We'll get a replay off this pick, and Light just a bit overextended. I think he probably should have flashed the Ornn ultimate. As soon as it connects, you're just basically dead. And a lot committed from TT to kill him, but they know if they get him, with the fact that LNG were lent bot side, it can lead to so much more.
Absolutely. Now, 30 seconds till Dragon spawns. LNG, though, are in a position to be able to try and contest this one here. Remember, they have the full push in bot side, so no towers available there for the side of TT, but with the TP coming in from the Ornn and the Baron buff push coming in as well, it should be easy enough for them to put themselves onto an Ocean Soul point. You talked about how important this could be for TT. They are very, very tanky. If they can get that extra survivability and keep those long engages going for themselves, it could be huge.
Yeah, I mean, if LNG steal this, it really gives them some extra time, but I feel like the scaling from TT is fine. I'm not a big fan of the TP from the Ornn, though, because it means your side lanes aren't defended, but they will be able to secure that. The objective control, the Kalista coming in clutch. And engage
5v4. Yeah, that's a good Gale Force here from Light, but remember, he has no flash. They flash in to try and catch him out, and they will do just that. He's trying to see if he can keep himself alive, but he just cannot do it. The hostile takeover is good onto Doinb and Tarzan. Ale, though, on the back end of this, is going to try and catch out Beichuan, who does flash away and keeps himself alive. TT not out of this one just yet. Doinb trying to see if he can catch out Beichuan with the Winds of War, but he's just not quite able to connect. And TT, they're getting some momentum, they're getting these objectives, and more importantly, they're keeping LNG down.
And you know what? I criticize XiaoXiang for playing the side lane, but his setup for these fights has been great. The ult doesn't connect on a Light, but they know he has no flash. They force the Gale Force, and Ucal's TP puts him in a really uncomfortable spot. They'll be able to get those 2 towers mid and some more gold, and you can kind of see how hard the team fighting is starting to feel for TT. LNG want to be diving in. That is what, like, 4 of the champions do, and all the champions on the side of TT are so fantastic at dealing with it. The TP timing is great as well. Lights can't walk fast enough, and beautiful, the WE instantly to come out, even with a cleanse. XiaoXiang just walks them. And then in this mix, right, you have Doinb and Tarzan beating each other up. Ale tries to go for Beichuan, but between the stopwatch and the bailout, wasn't that sheer fire that he was going to get that kill regardless, and then he also ends up going down. Like I said, I love the comp from TT. I think it works so well, and as long as they can keep forcing LNG into team fights, forcing them to group, they will be in a good position.
Absolutely, you are kind of waiting here for Allah to become unkillable, untenable in a bot side, or excuse me, in a side lane. But 2 items, he's getting there, but not quite 100%. Now he has to try and keep running away because I don't think he really wants to be here right now. He's going to end up getting flashed in on top of by SouthWind. The block is good. They're really committing an awful lot here to try and kill him off. He dodges away, not quite though, from the hostile takeover. And again, more and more momentum. Doinb's in a side lane, but you've already taken that tier 2. There's nothing for you to have.
I wasn't sure the block would be enough, but they really commit to make sure they get that kill. SouthWind once again committing his flash for a play. And as I said, with the Kalista as the safety net, you feel comfortable to do that. Now, we do get the recall from the Ornn to try and defend there. It does give a potential window for Doinb, but it's still, this is a hard engage to pull off into the Swain.
Yeah, they have vision. They're trying to look for it now, but the Everfrost, and like you said, the Swain just puts out one never move, and there's nowhere for you to go, really. You can't really jump in on top of them. Very difficult to make that play work, and you're just running out of options here for LNG. You're kind of relying on light super scaling on this Aphelios to really kind of drag you back out of it.
And I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, ultimately, especially as talking about the side lane, the fact that, you know, LNG only have that one dragon, they are 2 minutes away from potential soul for TT. And not only does the soul make the team fighting so incredibly difficult for LNG, but also holding the side lane. XiaoXiang, one of the big things with this Camille is she'll constantly trade, chunk him out, lower him down, and sustain up with the Ravenous. The fact that he's going to have sustain of his own with that Ocean Soul will mean it's a much trickier issue to try and force there. And now level 15 for Beichuan, by the way. Look at the CS lead between him and Tarzan. Tarzan only level 12, 3 levels down in the matchup.
Yeah, Tarzan has not been having a great setup of things. And 3 items versus 2. You can see that, honestly, if Beichuan gets on top of Light with 1 auto attack and a Q, he will probably half health him, if not 100% him. So you've got to be so aware of where, you know, Beichuan is going to be in these fights. I will say, the minute until that dragon spawns, it will be full summoners available for everyone except for possibly SouthWind. So there is still an opportunity here. But now Doinb, he pops his ghost. Maybe looking for something here. That's a great Everfrost, though, on the 2 people. That's going to be Ucal popping his ultimate. The Demonic Ascension has already been used very, very early on. XiaoXiang now trying to keep Allah away as he does get himself the hook shot, wall shot away, but gets knocked up by the Ornn. They get the never move down as well. The flash in from Lumao is good. That's going to be a Moonlight Vigil coming in, but it doesn't really do any damage whatsoever. Oh, no. Light, so maybe have killed himself and the rest of his team, but they're looking for a full-on engage. They will not get hit by the ultimate of the Renata as they keep going on top of this. It's all on Light. He needs to be the one to carry this fight. He needs to be the one that goes for it. Look at the chakrams. Look at the damage. He's not quite able to keep himself up and alive. And it will be TT finally cleaning up the rest of these kills. They just can't quite get the damage down as Tarzan. They know exactly where you are, sir. They're not going to try and risk this one. They're going to take you out.
Yeah, they're going to be able to find him. Beichuan massive in that final fight. You can see Tarzan trying to block the autos for his AD carry, not quite able to find it. If anyone didn't catch it, the blast cone, I believe Light had his Severum Q activated for the movement speed, and it automatically autos anything in range, so it just killed the blast cone, blocked him from getting away. But regardless, it was a close fight. You can see Light, as you said, that late game carry, a pivotal piece for LNG, but it wasn't enough. And now Ocean Soul secured for TT. All that sustain coming in is going to be massive.
I mean, let's have a look at the replay here. You can see that Light almost gets the perfect thing, but he doesn't have his IE yet, so he just doesn't have the damage.
And he gets caught. One of the reasons why LNG feel confident in this fight is Ucal's ult, as you said, was very early. He doesn't manage to reconnect. He's trying to find targets to keep it going. So now it's gone. They know they're losing the top laner, but they try to make the re-engage. And it looks like Baron's just been taken. Not sure if a contest comes in, but yeah, he pops his Q, and as a result, it kills the blast cone. Unintentional, I feel. And then in this close range fight, this choke point, he actually gets a ton of value. But watch Puff. This is a power of the Renata Kalista. Stacks up the rend, goes down, but manages to get the reset. And then here, Beichuan, you see Tarzan trying to block the autos for his AD carry, but only took a couple to connect, and he ends up getting the kill.
Yeah, well, Ocean Soul was the prize, and I believe the Baron as well. 2 minutes 40 on that particular buff for TT as they have themselves about a 5,500 gold lead as well. So the advantages are stacking up, and we talked about how incredibly powerful this buff is going to be for the side of TT. They now have the Ocean Soul. They have the siege potential as well. This is starting to get a bit dire. LNG, they need a mistake. They do have 3 items onto their carries, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
And look on the other side as well. Ornaments have come in. Ucal has his, just hit level 16, so has the strongest version of his ultimate. Puff has the empowered shield bow. Look how confident SouthWind is, by the way, knowing he has the backup of the Kalista. They're going to be able to just take this mid tower, I think.
Yeah, you have Tarzan and Doinb.
Wait, please there.
Yeah, you still got the Inferno, but Tarzan and Doinb were on top side, so they get total control of this red side bot lane and mid lane jungle. So, going to take the last of the outer turrets. Only inhibitors left for the side of LNG. And again, you want to try and dive, you want to try and go for an engage. As I say that, Ucal, everything they have is just too good at dealing with everything LNG want to go for. And at 1v2, he comes out top trumps. And that is the sad reality of LNG.
He comes out full HP. It's the other thing. The healing is so insane. And unfortunately, the two who were looking for him didn't have the grievous wounds. It's only Doinb who actually has it. But I'm not even sure it'll be enough. They're looking for the engage.
They're looking for him. He will get himself away. Puff goes golden as he got caught out by the dredge line. And this might be an opportunity here. The hostile takeover goes completely wide. Does put a little bit of damage onto Ala and Tarzan. But again, it was just to take the inhibitor. So Beichuan gets himself over the wall as Lumao misses out on the dredge line. And now you can see TT, they focus back in towards this bot side. They've still got about a minute of Baron. 2 more waves to kind of go with. The Ornn gets double knock up. They flash in. Lumao is dead. Doinb flashes away to keep himself alive. Doesn't get hit by the Everfrost now, but you're 4v5, and I honestly don't think there's much else LNG can do.
I think it's just done at this point. Your only option is to go for that miracle engage, but the counter engage from TT is so powerful this game. Let's see them try and make a last-ditch effort.
You gotta go for something. You've got 3 items, 3.5 on your Aphelios. He's got to make it work. Azale goes in. They're going to try and jump on the Tarzan. You can see there that Light almost getting taken out, but keeps himself alive as they get themselves room going. The Kalista is now dead. They trade it back for Ala, but you got yourself a little bit of extra healing, and the minion's actually not focusing on the tower at all. So this is still survival for the... I know, he was looking at something else, man. I don't know. He's like, oh, look at that bird over there. But it does mean that the side of LNG survive, and they get more cash in their pockets.
Yeah, the stasis effects really coming in clutch there. You could see that the goal was to try and get the reset for Puff, but the stasis meant he wasn't able to do so. We'll get the replay coming out. So this is just fantastic from XiaoXiang. Buffers the stun, and then they try and turn on him afterwards, but he just gets that big knock-up. It was a questionable play from LNG. They didn't really have the damage there. But then in the follow-up play, we get TT just charge forwards, and they do manage to find Puff. I think the minion's being cleared out as well as what slows it down. But it's ultimately those stasis effects having so much value, because when we see the dive come in, Puff starts to get chunked. He ends up getting the W cast on him. Arla gets a kill, and then stasis, no chance to get a turnaround kill. And as much as Arla goes down, it would have been disastrous if Puff was able to survive, if he was able to get that reset.
You can see as well, Light didn't actually have his flash in that particular one. He had his Gravitum right at the end and then immediately stopped the Severum. So it was actually literally the perfect guns for that situation, to be able to stop the onslaught from coming on top of him, and also to be able to sustain when they were able to get on to his face. But LNG now, they've got 2 super mini waves to try and deal with. Ala's going to try and deal with this bot wave as quick as he can, try and cut it off before it makes anything relevant. But TT are saying, cool, you're bot lane, we're going to just try and push in top.
Yeah, I mean, they can flip the Elder, but it's a bit risky, so they're just going to try and push in here. Really, Light needs red-white, I feel, to win in these fights. These up-close ones. Engage coming in. They're
going to go for the engage. TP's going to be ally coming in as Doinb goes straight into Zhonya's. They do get the hostile takeover coming over as well. As you can see, Light trying to just put the damage down, but this Ocean Soul is keeping everyone so healthy. And they finally take down... It doesn't take any damage whatsoever. It's going to be 4 for none. How can you try and take down these beefy boys when they've got all the healing in the world? And that's going to be TT taking us to game 3 and a 1-1 scoreline.
And honestly, TT played this well, but I just love the draft that came out from them. LNG really ham-fist themselves. I don't really like the Camille Galio into a Renata. I don't think it makes sense. Your whole goal is to pick out a single target and kill them. Doesn't work effectively when they have that bailout, but the Swain as well, just such a fantastic pick there. And as soon as the Ocean Soul was secured, it felt like there was a 0% chance of LNG winning team fights unless TT massively misplayed.
Yeah, and again, TT, honestly, I feel like they should have come out on top in terms of game 1. They definitely threw that one away. They were not allowing the same thing to happen in game 2. LNG showing more cracks the longer we go on. Again, big issues there. They swapped out Lwandy for Lumao. I don't think it made that much of a difference in terms of anything. It just felt like the whole team wasn't really on the same page. And like you said, the draft has been a bit of a stickler here for LNG. The lack of Light wanting to go towards the Kalista, the banning of the Lucian on blue side, it just feels like it's really hindering them.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to red side this game. I think they should, because I think they've been outdrafted both games so far. And I think that means that the Lucian ban, it makes a bit more sense, right? You don't have to ban it yourself on blue side, and essentially giving the enemy team a free ban and wasting your own. And then you can also look for those potential counter picks and react a bit more to what TT takes. But in fairness, I'm not sure that's going to make a difference, because ultimately they have been given opportunities to react to what the enemy team has, and yet they kind of just commit into it, right? You see the enemy team going to go Kalista, you opt into the Nautilus Aphelios, you know? You saw that they had the Renata already. You go for the Camille, Galio. I don't know. I don't really agree with it. I do think that they had that creative early game to try and get the early lead, but I think TT did a fantastic job of mitigating that. And then again, they knew what their composition strength was. They didn't try and make any hero plays. We didn't see any deep destinies coming out from Ucal in this one. It was just very much by the book.
Yeah, by the book. And Ocean Soul in hand, you can see right at the end there, Light's in a great position to try and maybe carry this one here, but every time he puts down that damage on those big beefy front lines, it just didn't make a difference. They had so much healing, they had so much sustain.
The Swain just didn't take damage, man.
Yeah,
like that last fight, he's tanking tower and he's just full HP.
It's why we think of him so powerful, why he's such an incredibly powerful and potent pick in that mid lane. So for TT, they will get themselves another opportunity to make amends for game one. Of course, they are now 1-1 in the series. And for LNG, honestly, I'm really confused as to what they're, they really seem to be ham-fisting these compositions to try and maybe force something to go for them without really taking into consideration, like you mentioned right at the top of this draft, what they're going into.
And, this is going to be a bold take, but I feel like TT made those horrific errors in game one. And it's hard. I could easily just say, just ignore those. Obviously, they were a factor in why they lost. But outside of those, TT, had